Welcome to the Casey Catch Up. Now, we've had a pretty good couple of weeks over here in Australia, and basically the Downwind Fall race on the Northern Beaches was a really cool event. And I managed to catch up with Zane Westwood, Oskar Johansson, and Josh Koo to talk about and I guess unpack what happened on the day and sort of a few other things that sort of went on. I've pieced together a bunch of just raw footage and stills from the day throughout the podcast on for those who are watching it on YouTube, and for those that are listening, just the audio. So enjoy that. But if you want a little bit more, head to the YouTube. But yeah, good to get the podcast back up and going. I've done another one with the Fall Drive guys as well to debrief the same race, just from their perspective and how I guess Fall Drive is going to evolve with racing. I think it's a pretty cool future for a lot of people who maybe it's a little bit seems a little out of reach. The Fall Drive makes it more possible. So yeah, I won't ramble on too much. Basically, I do these podcasts to grow the Downwind Fall community. It's so cool to see that the Downwind Fall community is growing and that there was that massive race on my local run. The other way I grow the Downwind Fall community is through my Coach Casey Club and private coaching. And for those that live locally or ever coming to Sydney, private coaching, I've done so many cool downwind runs with crew and help them get to the next level. The online coaching community, the Coach Casey Club, is something that you can be doing from anywhere. So whether you live in the UK, the US, South America, Africa, Hong Kong, Australia, New Zealand, you can join the Coach Casey Club and you can progress your skills by uploading videos and tuning into the weekly coaching calls, asking questions, and then also going through the online course content that's take you step by step through the learn to downwind foil skills and tips and tricks. So yeah. Anyway, let's get into it. The Casey Catch Up with the team. All right, welcome to the Casey Catch Up, but really just a debrief of the Northern Beaches downwind race. And we got well, Oskar and I were 1 and 2. We'll just go through the results, and then Josh was 5th and Zane was 7th. And there was some seriously dark horses. Some scalps were taken yesterday, definitely, which is cool. It just means the sport's growing, and everyone made mistakes yesterday. But basically, I reckon, Josh, you take us through what was a pretty epic day. You were kind of the mastermind behind it. So
I had this idea of creating a downwind foil race on SUP probably for like the last 6 months. And we've had a lot of obstacles and hurdles in front of us to get us here today. We don't really have insurance or council approval or any of the legalities to make this official. So I kind of just pulled the trigger and went, fuck it, let's just do it, because if we wait any longer, it's just not going to happen. We're going to fall behind, because I think, maybe in Hawaii, I don't know if they're just got easier systems to set things up or if they're doing it kind of bootleg as well. But I think it's important for us Aussies to have races that we can compete in, to, be competing in a world stage type thing. So kind of just, pulled the trigger on this day, and it was all done through social media, and it kind of just built a bit of momentum as we said we're going to do it. And I used all you boys to help push, which was really cool, because we're all lucky enough to, even though we all live a little bit far away from each other, we're all in like either flying or driving distance to make this happen. So I think it was lucky having us 4 boys really kind of push the marketing side of things to get crew here. And also where the race was held, in Jimmy's local spot, there's definitely a huge contingent of people who are really getting the hang of the SUP downwind. So I wanted to base it there because there was already a core group of people doing it. And I think when 1 or 2 people sound like when Zane said he'll definitely come down and Oskar would come up, I think other people kind of put in their minds that, yeah, I'll fly down, I'll drive up from here. So we had people from Adelaide, from Sunshine Coast, from Byron. We even had Paul Cooper from Hawaii come over, which was really rad, and the boys from Foil Drive in Adelaide. So it was just cool. Like, it was really cool how everyone just pulled together to make this first event really special.
Yeah, I think the key to it was that it was like super organic. Like there was no like everyone just wanted to be a part of it because they were frothing out. I think it really started from the racing in July last year. It seemed like Hawaii last year was kind of the boom of it all, and people are frothing to get over there and do that. And like to have what do we have 43 starters yesterday?
I think
It's
so. Yeah.
47.
47. Like it was like over 40. And I think almost 40 finished too, which is amazing because of the conditions. It was below average, even for Northern Beaches standards. It was it was pretty ordinary. But yeah, I think the trick is going to be trying to keep it like that, like as low key as it was. That the froth levels were so high. Even looking like, which was hard to believe looking at the ocean because it wasn't froth worthy. it was it was really mellow.
I think the one thing that I really wanted to like emphasize for the day was that it was a lot of people's first race. And I remember when I was in Hawaii in July, they were my first races, and you learn so much in those things. And I kind of wanted to give that experience to all these people here because, like what you said, a lot of them are got Hawaii on their sights this year. So it'd be good to just prep them up and send them into the big boys game prepared.
Yeah, but I think the numbers and the conditions proved that a lot of people are ready for it. Like, that really the top 20, I would say, could easily do a channel crossing in half decent or conditions that we got last year. They would have finished very easily. Um, but yeah, like I guess I'm kind of keen to talk like about the race, but also about like Oscar's in the South Coast, Zane's up north, and Kui and I are in Sydney, and the little pockets of like downwind foil frothers that are going on. But we'll do that maybe later after we talk more about the race. But I don't know. Do we want to talk about? I'll kind of set the scene conditions. It was the reason we picked the day was because it was supposed to be really windy. The forecast was unreal. Like all the stars looked like they had aligned for the first weekend that we sort of had the waiting period for, and the wind just never came. It just was there's like this weird like sea misty fog moved in over the coast and got really hot and humid. It was like too humid for the wind to push in. So the briefing was at 1 o'clock, and then we or 1:30 kind of thing, and probably 1:45 after JB finished his explanation of detailed explanation of the run, which was good. It was really good because everyone probably benefited a little bit from it. Probably would have benefited more if it was like actual a downwind condition, like good downwind conditions with actual backwash, because it was actually pretty mellow, which in hindsight I actually think was a good thing for most people because it was doable, and the jet skis probably weren't going to be able to help as much as they did if it was messier, because it would have been logistically really hard for people to get going. But so it was a glassy ocean basically up at Avalon, and I got there probably one of the last to get there and up at the top, and everyone was already out in the water.
Classic fashion.
I try to make it as normal downwind run as possible. I don't like all the nervous energy, but I do like getting there late for races. But I was lucky I was there because one of the boys, Jake, didn't have his T-nuts to bolt his mast onto his board. So he actually ran with. I lent him one spare, and he was so stressed. But so he had three. So he's like two in the front, one in the back. I'm like, yeah, two in the front, one in the back. Three's plenty. So anyway, we got out there, and everyone was so far out. And everyone's saying, "Oh, it's your local run," but it was like we were about 2 k's off where I normally start. So it was like a different run altogether. But Zane, I guess that's your old local run, like, and you're kind of local to the start of the run, and I'm local to the end of the run in terms of location. But what did you like? To me, I was like to look out and see that many people floating out in the water was pretty amazing to me. Like to have, like obviously I saw everyone at the briefing and then sort of got up there, but I don't know, it was just weird, like to have it looks like a paddle out, like for a like a funeral kind of thing, like it was a memorial almost, but it was just like foil frothers paddling way out to sea.
Yeah, I was actually just standing on the rocks watching everyone paddle out, just kind of observing just where everyone was jumping off. And I counted before, this is when we were all sitting inside the wind line. And I counted like 43 in the water already. and then all the skis were there and stuff like that. So that was actually really cool just to see how many people are excited about racing, and to set out our local run was pretty amazing, I didn't even realize there's that many foil froth downwinders in Australia. So it's cool to see how much it's grown in a short period of time. And that seems to be like what everyone's kind of end goal is for foiling at the moment, is the downwind in the ocean, which is great because it's more accessible now with equipment and coaching or like knowledge of other people. So the sport in Australia is growing really fast and organically. But for me,
that's so true though. And I think we touch more on that, like the equipment, and then like just one per like to me, like even like Zane, you and I probably 2 or 3 years ago were probably the only ones doing it on the Northern Beaches like consistently.
Yeah.
JB was kind of coming and going, but it's sort of more into his winging at that stage. And then Zane, you taught Oskar from right? Is that
Yeah,
and then
Jervis.
Yeah, and Jarvis. I remember you telling me, I'm like, oh yeah, this guy Oskar, he got up first go. I'm like, what a dickhead. Who gets up first go? What a freak. And then Kui during COVID hit me up. You're like, I want to learn a downwind. And you really wanted me to do like a one-on-one lesson. I'm like, I think I just had a kid. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing lessons at the moment. And you're like, come on, dude. Share some knowledge with me. I'm like, oh, no, I'm busy. But you joined the online thing, and you look at now it's like, I don't know, it's just snowballed, it's crazy to see, because literally I think it was 3 years ago, like Zane
and I were like biscuits.
No one knew what we were doing. People were freaking out.
Yeah,
it was. Actually, I saw Pommy Pete today, Zane, and he was saying that he saw me come in from like one of my first ever Manly to Palmies, and he was just
I remember him telling me that years ago.
Yeah.
And he was just freaked out. You did it in like a 6 meter swell.
Yeah.
At Kitty's Corner.
Yeah, came in at Kitty's. Yeah.
Which is cool. He's one of the OG foilers of like Australia, I reckon. He was like one of the first. And then he fell off for a bit and got into mountain biking, but now he's back on foiling, frothing on downwinding again.
Oh, he's just paddling. Like he goes out every day just for a paddle if there's no waves. He doesn't even care if he doesn't catch a wave. He's just like working his paddle technique, working his.
And he'll pick it up. He's one of those guys that will pick it up real fast and won't stop until he actually gets it.
He was talking about hours spent, not time, like not calendar time. He's like, because people always ask how long does it take to learn a downwind or whatever it is. And he was like, it's about hours doing it. It's not about a week or 2 weeks or a month or a year. He's like, how many hours have you done at it? I think that's such good advice.
He's the first. I bought my first foil setup off him for $500. He's the one that got me into it.
Bargain.
Iconic.
Yeah.
It was sick.
Yeah, and so cool. And then Oskar, how about the scene down your way? Like, what's it's. We were talking yesterday about it, how there's a few blow-ins, but also the local crew are kind of getting into it too.
Oh yeah, like I think downwinding for us is what everyone's eyeing off. Like this last summer, there's 4 or 5 guys minimum have all just bought boards, everything. They're all just committed to it, and I think it's the one thing that's so appealing about foiling. Whether riding waves and all that. Like if you're coming from a surf background as a surfer, like it doesn't replace getting barreled, and you can still turn on a surfboard. I think the attraction is more you can ride different ways, but downwinding it's just not even comparable. Like you're riding swells for, kilometers down the coast. It's the one thing that I think a lot of guys are really aiming for, but it's always been that kind of almost unattainable goal. And the equipment every 6 months we say it, like, I remember when I learned to downwind, I paddled your original Sonova, the orange one. I think it was 28 wide, 29 wide.
Looks like a wingboard now.
Yeah. It was massive.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think I shaped my first board and it was 22 and a half. I think at the time yours was 24.
I remember saying to you, I'm like, nah, it's too narrow, mate. It won't work. Yeah.
I remember I was like halfway through it, and I think you and Zane said the same, like, you cooked it, mate. It's too narrow. You won't be able to stand on it. And then like within a month, everyone had a 22. And then I was like, next one, I was like, I'm making it 19. It was the same thing. I was like, you cooked it again.
Yeah.
But it's, now it's like, you can go as narrow as whatever your offset is in your stance. And it like, you know, everyone's like the gear. Actually, it was interesting to see all the boards. Like everyone had all their gear laid out on the grass, and there wasn't just like one brand of boards. There was so many different boards, guys, handmade boards, so many different foil brands. Like everyone's really come, I think, as a brands as well, just come to the table with developing the gear. Like it's not like one brand's just leading the charge. Like all the brands are kind of really facilitating this. It's not just one. So
Well, that's the thing. Like 2 years, even probably 2.5, 3 years ago, like Downwind. I remember I was chatting to Sonova, like my board sponsor, and I said we should make these Downwind foil boards like production. The ones Marcus and I are using. They're like, nah, no one's doing it. Like, why would we make a production thing? No one's into it. I'm like, yeah, but it's sick. It's like actually it'll take off one day. You got to make the boards, and they're like, when it starts to grow, we'll look at it. So they were just making customs for Marcus and I. And then there was the wide ones that you were using, Oskar, and I think Zane, you had one as well originally. And it was like maybe it was 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago. All of a sudden it clicked, and like brands started doing. I'm not sure who the first brand that really jumped on it, but like Downwind Foiling was like the cool thing, and it's just kind of, I don't know, it's just snowballed big time. It's crazy to see.
yeah, I think like for Armstrong, we worked on the first one 2 years ago.
Mhm.
And it was that like they approached me and said, oh, we can make you a downwind board, but we're never going to put it into production. Like, what's the point? And the thing that clicked was they like, you know, I think I can't even remember, someone tried it, whether it was Army or someone, they're like, dude, this is sick for winging. Like it was more about, and that's like, you know, downwind boards are realistically, if you're just looking at downwind foilers, like it's the 1% less, 0.5%, 1/4% of the market. So if you've got something that works, and it's got to cross over a little bit, so it works for downwind, but it's also good for light wind winging. And I think that's the downwind board has totally redefined boards in foiling, like in general. Like you're looking now at wing boards, like the Sultan wing, the what you guys have with Sonova, the wing board.
Yeah,
Same thing, you're
Carver,
kind of
yeah.
starting to bring that narrow outline, a little bit longer rail line into wing boards, and everyone's like, it's so much better. So it's not just been in even prone boards. Prone boards have gone narrower and straighter outlines. Like everything's benefited from the development with downwind boards. So,
And I reckon we got to give credit to Dave Kalama. Like,
yeah,
I really think he was one that really put it into production. I was just thinking about it then, but like, we're getting a bit off track from the race, but it's all about the race in some way. But like, I remember doing a walk with my wife, and there was a LA Foil Club like chat, and Dave Kalama was coming on to talk about the Barracuda, and it was just released, and they wouldn't give any dimensions away. And everyone's like, man, it's so long and skinny. And it must have been, I guess, 2021 or 2022. So, you know, 3 years ago. And I reckon he's the one that really, you know, got things rolling in terms of like production boards, downwind specific production boards. And then, yeah, like you said, other brands saw the benefit of it for winging, and, you know, like Bennett's and all the guys are paddling in on their big boards. And um, yeah, it's awesome. It's cool because it's giving what we think is the pinnacle of foiling. I think a lot of people do as well. Like they see like us riding like wind chops, like how's that possible? How do you go for so long? It's like the longest wave essentially, and untapped. Like um there's no crowds out there. Like we paddled out with 47 people plus skis, and I went out with a GoPro, and I got no footage of anyone. You know, like maybe a little bit of Oskar at one point when we crossed over, but like I was kind of bummed because Karen was like commentating as I went, and I'm like,
You're just doing tutorials, I reckon.
this is what not to do.
Yeah, these nerds.
But like Josh, you did the same thing. You took a GoPro out and you're like, I didn't film anything. Like I was not really, like there was nowhere near anyone. Everyone took different lines, which is
Plus the conditions didn't allow it, you know.
No, it was like I was so
couldn't even-
redlining.
Yeah.
I was so redlining the whole time. I didn't even want to pull out my GoPro to film because I was just like I wanted to be. I was full concentration the whole time, not to come down and not to make one mistake, because that one mistake could cost you so many minutes to get back up again going. So
what, like six places, something like that, 7 places, Zane.
Got me, didn't it?
Yeah,
I was trying to hunt you down, mate.
You were coming. You were
Far
coming.
out. The adrenaline wore off, and I cooked myself.
Do we want to? Why don't we bring it back to the race? Because I think probably people just want to tune into this if they're listening. But
Yeah, talk about the start. Talk about
Yeah.
just talk about the actual race.
All right, so I remember Oscar, you and James got up first. You were to the left of me, like 50 meters, Oscar.
Yeah, I
And
was
you
probably the
like-
furthest out.
Yeah,
You guys were heaps further in.
yeah, we were in because we didn't paddle any further out.
Maui to
We
Molokai.
didn't want to- yeah,
Scarred
yeah.
Oscar.
Mate,
Yeah.
I'm always the first
Um,
out now, mate. Long
Yeah.
first out, furthest one out in the bump.
I didn't even see you at the briefing. You're already at Avalon.
Yeah, and you, Oscar, I saw you get up first, and then James and my
JB
first
reckons he was one of the first, actually.
Who was?
Maybe he was on foil before. He was
JB.
watching me paddle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
He was
right.
up so quick.
yeah. I think JB was first.
I just had
I
you
got
two
the drone
quite early.
footage. We'll look back
But
at it.
yeah, and then I actually paddled up and fell off, just rusty, and then got up, and then within 5 seconds I was up. And then you and Oscar, James and Oscar, are, you were together. You're like literally touching foil tips.
We're
for
holding
like,
hands.
Yeah,
Actually,
we were chatting. It was good.
Yeah,
We had a
yeah.
tow session the day before, so we were just chatting about that a little.
How about that wave we got?
Yeah. How the legs feeling?
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think I got up 15 seconds behind you guys, maybe 20. So I was like 150 meters.
A
And
good
then I
gap.
was just,
A good
yeah,
gap.
you gapped us quick. And then we kind of evened out a bit. I caught Oscar at Newport. And then I was,
How did you catch him? How did you do that?
I reckon Oscar's foil was just smaller. That's all it was. And he was working harder at the time.
As soon as I was with Jimmy, I think we were just kind of going back and forth on bumps, and
Yeah, I
Yeah.
took a couple in, and then you
You
took
took a
one
couple
out,
in.
and then
Yeah.
we were
You
just
took
sort
a
of like
right hander and
Mm.
you were gliding for, that was the
Yeah.
longest glide I saw all day. You were like 100 meters. And then I was just like, that's what I want to be doing.
yeah, that bombing off South Ave. I got one
Yeah,
of them.
Always.
Honestly,
Yeah. But
Magic.
usually you can use the reverb off South Ave, but there was just none because there was no wind chop at all. There's
it
just
felt off Bill Goller. I actually felt a puff of wind in the face.
yeah. Well, there was a south swell coming straight into us, so
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, to what I don't know, when did you pass me, Oscar? It was probably halfway down Narrabeen.
yeah.
Like
Well, I think because when
3/4.
you passed me, I was done. Like
Yeah,
I was full
I
survival
went
mode.
past you. I go, how fucked is this? This
Yeah.
is
And like you were moving so well when you went past me, and I was like, I got a little bit of motivation. I was like, to start pushing again. But like I was like, people were asking like, what line did you take? What bumps were you riding? And I was like, couldn't tell you. I was like,
Yeah,
I was just pumping until there was something. I didn't care which way the bump was going. I just needed a rest.
fully
Mm.
no strategy.
Like I had no idea. I had no rhythm. I just anything to get a rest. And it was full survival mode. I was like, I just need to stay on foil. And you moved past moving so well. Like, and I was just like, oh, that's it. That's done. And you were making ground moving so
Yeah, I was
well.
running on adrenaline, I reckon, most of the
Yeah.
race. And then towards when I turned back and I was, I don't know, 200 meters in front of you, maybe.
Mm.
And I turned and I was like, oh, I can actually come off foil here and jump in the water because I'm so hot. Like my palms are sweating. And then I did that and then got up on foil in front of you. And then that really gassed me. That was hectic. Like I pretty much flat water started that. And then a couple minutes later, I was cooked. Just hit a wall. And
Can you tell us where that was, and then how many people passed you when you were down?
So that happened just probably 1.5 km south of that yellow buoy off Narrabeen.
Inside or outside it?
Inside. I was well inside of it.
Also.
And then JB, I just saw 3 dudes wide, like 500 meters left of me, and I knew it was JB because he always does that line.
Mm.
And Kisser. And they were cruising because I'm big foils. They were
The old boys love the outside line.
Yeah. And hindsight always is a good thing. But to be honest, if I had a bigger foil, like a 120 or a 150, it would have been a different story. Like we just kind of matched each other's foils, all of us. So we were just working so hard. And you don't want to have that fear of not having a foil that can keep up. So plus the conditions didn't deliver. So
we all were trusting the forecast. Like
that's
you
it.
look at the forecast and it was saying like gusts like 25 knots. And I didn't think I saw anything close to that, like half that even.
Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what can you do? That's just nature.
Yeah.
So I guess the learning curve for me is to actually bring another foil down, not just bring one.
No, you didn't have a choice anyway.
So I don't
Nah,
think
no
you've said it
choice.
yet. I don't even think you've said it yet. So name all your foils.
Yeah, I was on the one HA 110X with a 75 mast and a 20 carved tail.
Ouch.
Mm,
That would have hurt.
yeah.
Oskar?
I was on the Downwind Performance 685 with
Ouch.
86.5 mast.
Oh,
and it
86 would.
Yeah, I
You
saw
always
that
downwind
long
that, huh?
mast.
Yeah, I just do everything. It's just the one
Wow.
mast I
Have
use.
you
I just
tried a
know the length.
75 yet?
Once or twice.
Dude, you'd move
Like
so fast.
we always hunted we tended to just do runs in big conditions at home.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're just breaching with the small ones. So I was like, if you want to stay on foil, it's just easier to ride a long one. I just got so used to the length.
Zane and I
Um,
used to run 82s or 85s, like go foil, and then when I was on
Yeah.
Axis, I was using 82 all the time, and then
Mm.
75 is all I use now, even for prone.
Yeah.
I was saying that on
Even
the
for
toe day.
prone, really?
Yeah.
I still use an 85 for prone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too shallow. Like the reef spots, there's no sandbanks at the moment at home, so it's
Yeah,
all
right.
the reef spots. I just scratch my foils up otherwise, so I'm just like, get used to it.
Yeah.
But I was on the 770R with a 120 R tail, the same tail I used on Molokai, and 75 mast, medium fuse. So it was smaller than what I used for Molokai, but Molokai was way windier. So the sprint, though,
Yeah,
I just figured we could do it because it was only short.
Yeah, I went similar. I went 770, 75 mast, medium fuse, and what was the tail you gave me? Was it 135?
Yeah, the one bigger.
Yeah,
Lucky.
and I
Wish
was
I had that.
yeah, but I was like, that's the first time I've ever ridden that tail. I was used to the surf tails, so I think it was good with the glide once I trusted the glide, but I feel like I was so close to the stall speed the whole time, and it was like the first run to kind of feel that out. Where I didn't stall, I made it in one shot, but I think when I started to trust the glide just that little bit more and more, I was able to have that 1 second more break to kind of regain my breath again. Instead of at the start, I was probably over pumping it, not trusting the glide. But towards the end, because I was running out of gas, I had to trust the glide more, and it allowed me to do that. So it was good.
Yeah. What tail were you using, Oskar?
140. Just it's their kind of high aspect tail, but not like a race tail, not like the one you guys have.
Are you guys all sort of running like pretty small tails for downwind, like going fast, like as small as you can get away with, kind of thing? Yeah.
140 is the biggest I use, and real flat, like take all the lift out of it.
Yeah, I'm shimming it. I don't even know. Is it negative? Less taking lift out?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'd really like to try the 770 in those conditions.
Yesterday?
The low end, because like my low end's so high on that foil. So
well, obviously you were like you were catching me. Like I kept looking back and I'm like, fuck, even Oskar. It's either Oskar or Zane because Oskar, you had the full orange sleeves,
full
and
orange.
Zane, you had blue with orange. Is that right?
Yeah.
So I was like looking back every now and then, I'm like, who's coming? Someone's coming.
Yeah. But yeah, if it was 12 knots, like a tiny bit of wind chop, we all would have been fine, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean,
there was just nowhere to rest.
Nah.
And that's the thing, like you can ride fast foils, but if you're pumping on the wind chop, which is you should be getting your rest back, ready to move with a swell. You don't have the energy to actually move when a bump comes. Like it didn't.
I wouldn't even consider what we did was a downwinder.
It was a pump. I actually said I reckon it was better. It was a beach runner. Like there was swell going in, and that was the only thing you could ride. I couldn't ride the wind chop.
I was just chatting to JV after, and I've done the 20 beaches the last 2 years, and the conditions have actually been a lot better than what it was yesterday. Like
so good.
And like 20, there was no wind 20 beaches, but there was a big south swell, so you could ride the south swells, and like the reverb and the bounce, you could actually like make the most of stuff, and you could rest. Whereas yesterday, I think because it was short, we all went smaller foils, and the wind, the forecast, like we were expecting it to calm, and then
I reckon the heat was a big one for me.
Oh sweaty.
Yeah.
I didn't bring any water.
Yeah.
No, neither. But it was only it was like half an hour. So if you can hydrate before that, like you shouldn't have to have water if you're under an hour. Oskar, you know that.
Hydration. Well, it's more just the overheating, I think. Like hydration's you can do without water for an hour, but
Yeah.
more that everyone was just effectively like we had a headwind. You know,
Yeah.
We'll go
whatever
faster
8
than
to
the
10
wind.
knots of
Yeah.
wind. We're moving quicker than that. Like
Yeah.
you're getting safe. If you got on a good run, you started getting a breeze coming into you. So
Where did you guys find was the best part?
none of it.
Yeah.
Is it
I
like,
didn't find
No,
a
no,
good
I
spot at
The
all.
start.
I reckon
Not the
from
start for me.
Mona to Warrywood for me, because
That's what I was
always
gonna
there's a
say.
little rip line there, and
I got a
always
backwash. I got a backwash,
Yeah.
so I reckon I glided for like maybe 20 to 30 seconds, just like this magic one that took me out. So I was like pretty much
You were
coming
in and got way out.
Yeah, I was like in almost at, like in line with the blowhole, and got a bump that just like took me like it was the best bump. I don't know, it was just like a
Yeah.
lucky one, but just like it like bounced off Cooksey and just took me out. It was just one of those. I needed something at that point, and I'm like, because I was in a long way, and yeah, that Monavale stretch was the best for me for sure.
Mm.
Which I reckon it is. That's the everyone's got like the magic part of everyone's run. Like the Maliko run, you got like off Kanaha, like before like Camp 1, I guess, where the reef sort of stands up. I'm sure there's a secret spot. Well, not a secret, but like a special spot for the Bally run as well. And
Yeah.
Zane, you were saying off the Cape gets pretty mental.
Yeah, if you go around, I find honestly up here. So there's like a bunch of different runs I do, like Hastings to Byron or Tallows to Lennox, always around Broken with those those three sister rocks there. That's where it gets good always.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Both directions.
I haven't done it in a southerly.
Yeah, okay.
Southerly's not that. I don't think it's that good of an angle. It's kind of more onshore.
We'll find out this week.
Yeah, I'll be definitely
Looks
doing
windy.
it.
But Josh, how was the race from your perspective?
So I had a shocking start. I was riding my 8.4 Amos Bullet. The reason why I chose that was purely because that's my race board. Like I usually ride the 7.5 Bullet because there's no rush to get up. But I've been practicing race starts on my just normal like fun runs. Like I'll just be sitting on my board and then practice getting up and just taking whatever bump comes first. Like even if it's not a bump, but trying to force it. And it's been working really well. But I think definitely the nerves got me on the day. And also in the previous race that we did, that 20 Beaches one that you were talking about, had an absolute shocking start. Stood up on my board and wobbled off, stood up on my board again, wobbled off. And I think in the race yesterday, I did it 4 times before I even got paddling forward. So I had definitely a shocking start. I had everyone go past me. But then once I got up, I like, when to answer your question before, I think that my best bit was probably my first 2Ks because I actually took a lot of energy going right. So I was actually, even though I was pumping, I was kind of going with the energy source a bit. And then when I got to, past the first point or whatever, I then realized, shit, I got to cut left now. And then that's when the pain just started because there was nothing to traverse across. Like we were just pumping left. There was no glides going left. You'd pump left, and then whenever you seen a right coming, then you'd go right for a bit. It was literally just like a zigzag technique of just going straight down the coast. There was that's why I was amazed by all those guys who went so wide, but like I guess they were all on bigger gear, so they were able to tap into the energy source that was so little versus our floors only allowed us to go with the energy, like the proper swell source that was going into the beach.
I actually
So,
found, because Oskar, you said you started at like a fair bit further out. I found I was going quicker, cutting out towards you than you were going straight, if that makes sense. So like you were here and I was inside, and I actually felt like was like cutting. It's like the lefts. There was a little angle you could use, and it was like, but I was worried that to me, it was the opposite, Josh. I found the rights had, regardless, the rights I was going too fast for, and the lefts I was actually like getting speed from. But I didn't want to go left forever because I would have ended up like going around Long Reef Headland. I didn't want to go that wide. It just like seemed like too far. Obviously, if you look at my track, it wouldn't have made sense me saying that. But so I was going right a lot, but only because I was trying to take the rights when they were good. Because to me, a good right was like getting me in enough so then I could go faster going back out, which I don't know.
Right.
That's what I felt. But I know it's
I felt like even though there was a big south swell from the day before, and we all thought there'd be residual south swell pushing through on the race day, I actually didn't see that at all. I just felt that the energy source that was predominantly pushing felt like it was super east, like pushing just straight into the beach. I didn't feel like there was anything pushing us towards the finish line. So yeah, so that's the reason why pretty much I just got around every point, because I felt like when I was trying to have a break and glide for a few seconds, I was riding swell pretty close into the beach, and then I'd just have to. It was pretty much like a shore runner. You'd ride a wave into the beach, and then you'd pump back out over 3 waves, and then catch the next one back into the beach. And yeah, it was a pump. It was a pump fest. And I like throughout the whole run, just mentally was just like trying to have little things to be like, okay, I've ticked off that, like I've got around that point, or I seen someone ahead of me and I just overtook them, and I was like, it was just like little landmarks. And then in my head, I was like, okay, when I get to Narrabeen, which is the last beach before the finish line, I was like, usually it's always standing up there. Like it's more troughed out and I'll be able to rest. And then I got to Narrabeen and it just wasn't. There was still nothing. It was still nothing. And then, but you know, the thing that actually, the last goal that literally gave me like a bit more gas in the tank was when I overtook you, Zane. Because like I literally
You were right
you,
next
like,
to me
on
as
your
well.
board. I didn't even have anything smart to say to you because I was just like literally like panting like a dog. And I could have so easily turned on the GoPro and filmed it. It would have been fucking hilarious. But I just like I think I just went.
You go, sorry.
I think I literally went past you, and like, you know, I was probably 10 meters away from you, and I just went like, mate, this is fucked. And then I seen you try to do like a paddle up just as I was going past, and I think you were disconnecting your board but stalling out.
Yeah.
And then it
like
looked like you
30
gassed
meters.
yourself. Oh, dude, I said you were just persevering, just like I could just hear the board slapping and like not doing anything and then stalling out. And I think I got really lucky. Like as I passed you, it was like a moment where I actually got a bit of a glide. So I kind of did like a bit of like a stand tall and just kind of looked at him, just to kind of like
that.
you know rub it in.
You had the blinkers on, eh? Zane didn't want to look at you.
Yeah. And then I actually like, as I got past him and I knew I covered a bit of distance, I kept looking back a few times because I was like, if he gets up now, he could probably catch me. And I looked back a few times and seen I think you tried another paddle up, didn't you?
Yeah.
And then you said the seaweed got you or something.
Sheet glass there as well.
How many paddle ups did it take you?
Fuck, I don't even know.
Fuck, that's
Takes
heavy.
like
We were
3.
in a shit spot there. We were so close to the
Yeah.
beach.
Yeah.
We were in the
Were you off-
shittest spot.
Were you off like little Narra or like Northy
We were
Nah, it
inside.
was
I
middle of the
remember
beach pretty
Zane
much.
was in that.
or Southie? Yeah.
Zane
Good.
was just inside that yellow buoy. And I
Yeah.
remember I was inside him. So I was like, fuck. Probably could have thrown a stone on the sand nearly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not a good
The
line.
line was
Yeah.
a sharp line back to Brownwater.
That actually hurt, but I think the adrenaline got me there because that was purely not downwinding from that stage. That was cutting
Nah.
nearly upwind to get to the finish line. But the
Mm.
thing is, I actually seen those the boys JB and Kitha super wide, and like I just had memories of kind of M2M where all the guys that went really wide into the channel, when they were able to come in at the end, they all came fanging in because that's like the way that the energy is moving versus like taking that shortcut line where it's like more of a straight line in a GPS style way. We just had nothing to run with. We were pretty much just pumping our way to get there. But I surprised myself because when we did actually come in at the end, when I thought they would be running in with everything, I thought they would absolutely smash me, but I actually caught them. And
that was what I thought. Like the right-handers, like cutting in yesterday, didn't feel fast, and especially at the end, JB reckoned there was a bit of a rip running out, which it always does at the end there, especially when there's a bit of a south swell, it will sort of surge there. But like the rights didn't feel quick, whereas like if you were inside and cutting out, it felt like I was going like, to me it felt like I was going quicker, and watching people come in, it looks like everyone on the inside had the like cutting left was faster, which I don't know. Yeah.
And then at Oskar, I just got around that last little reef. I forget what's it called, Jimmy, that little left-hand reef or the right.
Yeah.
I remember I was riding so high because I could see the whole reef structure under me. And I was like, I could completely fuck this up right now. Yeah. And then I just got over it. And then literally it came to JB that was coming in from the right. And what I did, instead of kind of keep pumping straight because I was getting tired, I kind of peeled back to try and wait for a trough. And then that's when JB got in front of me. And I was like, fuck, I just lost it to JB. I was like, I literally, because I just couldn't keep going forward, I cut behind him and I was like literally in the swell or the bump behind him. And then I straightened out and then realized that he was on a super, like much slower foil. And I literally just did a couple paddle pumps, went up and over that swell, up and over the next. And then I was like, oh, hang on, I can nearly even catch Kisser here. And then I like raced into the shore and did like, tried to do a kick flip with my board and threw my paddle. And then like, as I stepped on the sand to put the board over my shoulder, Kisser was like maybe 5 meters in front of me up the sand. And I was like, oh, I've got this old boy on the sand for sure. And then like I stood on the stand and my legs just wouldn't even work. It felt like they were jelly, like it was heavy. And then Kisser, like, yeah, he got me. It was good. It was really good.
Yeah, JV was
finish.
carrying a big bit of seaweed at the end too. He said he, I guess, was going extra slow because of that. But it was pretty fun. That fourth place was crazy tight. That was cool to watch you guys come in. It was nothing in it really. And the beach run always makes it entertaining.
Yeah.
Oskar, when did you pass Zane?
Same spot. Like I was right
Zane
behind
hadn't
him.
moved.
Yeah.
You're still
I saw him
inside
come
the
down.
yellow marker.
I was actually turned the other way, facing north.
You're paddling back to your car.
I was just checking the ways at Northie.
Yeah. Oh.
Because I saw him come down at first and I didn't see the splash. I just assumed he was still on foil, and then all of a sudden he was paddling, and I was like, I just assumed he hit weed. I was like, oh, he probably hit weed and just cleared it, trying to get back
That
up
was
again.
a tactic come down because I was actually redlining, and I was nauseous from how gassed I was.
Yeah. When I saw you down then, I think when you got back up the first time, I was like, oh, he's still a little. I was like, I'm too gassed to go for it. But then when you came down the second time, I think that was when I caught you, and that gave me a good motivation. Like I was not in a good sorts at that stage, and I was just every headland was a goal. You were just like, just get to the next one, just get to the next one. You just kept.
I didn't have that strategy.
Nah.
I
was like I was from when Jimmy left me. It was pretty much from then was like conservation. It was like just get to the end.
Newport Reef?
Yeah, mate, that was when I started like full
the start of the race.
Yeah.
We were on the same bump together we're going out. We had a good bump cutting out.
Yeah.
And we were standing there.
I went in and you came out. You're like, oh, you got this one. And I think, yeah.
But then you were on the one in front and I was sitting on the one behind, and you were just gliding and I was pumping on it. And I literally just in my mind, I was like, no, I'm done. And I think we even said it. You're like, which foil did you ride? And I was like, the little one.
You're like, oh, I
took a bigger one. I was like, fuck off.
I almost took the 680.
Oh,
it would have been a disaster. So Zane, you came down off. I was trying to film it, like I said, and I had the camera. I actually had to look at the footage. It could be real bad, but it might be like some moments in there because I was like, you were catching me. I didn't know if it was Oskar or Zane, but I knew it was you two were battling. But I guess by the sounds of it, Oskar, you weren't battling, you were surviving, and Zane, you were hunting. You were hunting.
I had no
hard.
strategy. My strategy was just try and catch up.
Yeah.
There was nothing. It was just chase you down.
Yeah, you're definitely catching though until you weren't.
Yeah, I just worked too hard.
Yeah. How close do you reckon you got to me? Were you in line?
I reckon within 100 meters.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say when you're
I thought when I'm looking back, I thought at one point I'm like, oh, it's like maybe 4 or 5 bumps, and that was kind of.
It's hard to say. Like when you're that gassed and you get a bit delusional, you know, you just kind of fight or flight. So I don't know. It could have been. I reckon within 100 meters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely. Whenever I was looking back, I'm like, fuck, he's catching. But did you guys find from Warriewood onwards? I'm actually really curious to see your guys' splits. But from Warriewood onwards, were you faster or slower? Like that last few kilometers?
I was definitely slower.
Way slower.
Yeah. I was slower. My first best Ks were the first few.
Yeah. What sort of speeds were we doing?
I haven't looked at it, to be honest.
I think they were 235, 240 maybe. I don't know. I'll just pull up my phone.
Yeah.
I think they were low 220s to 2 in the teens. There was like 1 or 2 in the teens, and everything else was like 230s.
Yeah.
After that, I think there's even a 240, even maybe even higher somewhere on that last stretch.
Yeah.
It got real slow.
Yeah, I was get it up, but I'm pretty sure like pretty much the whole first half, or up until Warwood, I was doing 220s. I did, like you said, I was for a couple two teens, but it was like 219. I needed two
Yeah.
219s, and that was it. But from Little Narrabeen, like once you get around Warwood, my kilometers were all over 230, and it was like everything else was low 220s, and then as soon as I hit Little Narra, it was 10 seconds slower, 10 to 15 seconds slower every kilometer. And so Zane, when you were getting closer, I was kind of stressing because I'm like, fuck, Zane's got a small foil and he's working it. And then as soon as I did a 230, I'm like, keep an eye on that. And I did another 235, and I'm like, Zane's going to cook himself because it's just like 10 seconds slower is so much.
Yeah, my foil doesn't go slower than like a 225.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's
Like,
baseline for it. And like, I was just averaging 230s, like between 230 and 223. And
the
then
first half.
520.
That'll hurt.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of gauged that with my foil last time when I did a run from Cabarita to Byron. It was similar conditions, but bit more bump. And that foil just does 230s when it's like that, when you're pumping.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know, 23 Ks an hour pumping speed.
Yeah. Which doesn't give much for the in-betweens.
Yeah.
And then
If you, oh, yeah, okay.
No, you go, Cooey.
I was just going to say, if you boys were to do it all again today and with the same conditions, what would you choose?
Zane?
I'd ride my 120.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
I
what
guess-
what sort of speeds like does that?
It probably for like splits, it would equivalent to like 240s, I reckon, and that's enough for me to like sustain a long period of time pumping, like that run we did from Bondi to Wollongong. It's similar like that. The start was similar like that, and I did like 2 hours of that,
Yeah.
But yeah, the 110 just doesn't cut it in that light of condition.
Yeah. Cooey?
I would have rode the size up from it 860 for sure.
Yeah.
I reckon I would have rode 860 and maybe a smaller tail.
Yep.
Or the same tail. Like it's just I definitely needed more foil.
Yeah.
Like I reckon I would have enjoyed that run if you had the right foil on.
But like I guess
Sure.
Yeah. What about you, Oskar?
Yeah, same, one size up to 755.
Yeah.
Same as M2O.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have used the same, but I'm not sure I would have gone quicker. Like, because there's that balance of like a smaller foil, like you said, Zane, it doesn't allow you to go slower, which I found if I went the 860, I think towards the end I probably would have been doing like 240s, like so a little bit slower, like maybe 5-10 seconds slower. Because so I don't think I would have changed much.
I feel like that translates though to like more glide time. So that's what we're kind of going for, is just more time resting.
Yeah.
Who do you reckon was matched the most for the best for the conditions? I reckon it was JB or Kisser.
I reckon Alex Tibby, we haven't spoken about
Yeah.
him, but he was
Yeah.
on the 935,
930. Armstrong 930.
Armstrong. Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was on Axis, he said.
He
Nah,
cooked it
that's
at
what he
Trezo.
said.
Yeah,
He's on the Axis 930.
Mm.
No, he's on the
That's
Armstrong
the new-
930.
That's the new downwind one, is it?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's too bigger than what Oskar used.
Right.
But he's a big rig. Like he'd be 90, he'd be 93, 94
95,
kilos.
yeah, low 90s, mid 90s.
Yeah.
He's a big boy.
He is, yeah. I was chatting to him today.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
had
he was
hype
moving out
tip
there.
that he was the dark horse for this event. Dave West was sharing his splits with me. And he's been crushing it lately. He's definitely underground, and you could see like the board that he brought is an old clubby board that he shaped himself. Super impressive. Like he's doing his time, but that doesn't have to flaunt it or anything. It's proven itself in the race scene, which is sick.
He's been
Really
dusting
cool.
Nottage. Nottage is rattled.
No way.
Yeah. He's
Norwich
been
would hate that.
Yeah. He's Nottage is asking about a smaller
Yeah,
code
shit.
foil. Nottage is I reckon that's why he didn't come. He was going to come to WA and he's like, "Nah, I'm not going. I don't have a foil fast enough." I'm like, "Come on, mate. We're all here for a good time."
No, not Nottage. He wants to go fast.
Yeah, he wants to win. So So he's hassling us to get something smaller.
What's the
but
smallest foils you guys do?
at
6,
the
8?
moment, 720 production. We got a couple on the way. Not
Yeah.
too far off. Chinese New Year slowed things down a little bit. There's a few things coming soon.
Yeah, cool.
But it'll be Nodder should be happier. I'm not sure he'll ever be like he always wants something fun. He's light, but he's not. And I was chatting to Ben about it the other day. He's little, but he's not as small as Marcus, but he feels like he's getting a lot of lift. They can't hold it down. So maybe it's, sometimes people's stances, I think, prevent
Yeah.
certain things.
Is he
Mate.
riding the same boards?
Yeah, he's
'Cause
riding. Yeah,
like-
Benny Tarder is shaping him some
Okay.
code ones, which maybe
I
they
feel
need
like
to.
with my boards, I played around with the center of mass on the board, and it changes the balance of the foil like a lot. It completely changes that center of lift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, JB will tell you all about that. Get him going.
Yeah.
In a good way. Like I've talked to him a bit about it, and there's definitely like two. You talk about like when I talk about like paddling up, you start in one spot, and for me, I've got to shift my weight back once I get to a certain speed.
Me too.
And I think if you can get the center of mass of the board right, I think you don't have to change your stance. I keep talking to Marcus about it. Come on, we've got to get boards so we don't have to move our stance.
I feel like the longer you go, though, the more you will have to, though, unless you jam your foil further up.
Yeah, well, I know, Oscar, you run your foil super far forward.
Yeah.
Do you move your feet much?
Yeah, I don't like my feet are the same position, paddling, foil, everything. I never move them. And that's where like there was a period where a lot of the boards were going towards like keeping the center point, the widest point of the board, bringing it almost right in the middle, like a canoe, like a lot more tail out the back.
Yeah.
So then you just, your stance is dead in the center. Like you got the same from your front foot out, back foot to the tail, and your stance there, and then you move your mast and get just more about your volume distribution. It's got to paddle equally if you're standing right in the middle, and then the weight's got to work, the center of mass, all that. And we've always kind of pushed more for that. The compromise is you end up you get a long tail that touches down a bit when you're paddling up. So it's taken a while to get that tail right. And that's kind of been our latest getting that dialed. But
so you were on a new board, Oscar. You can tell us about that.
Yeah. I got it the day before.
Yeah.
So Kui and I went down, just had a quick paddle. I got 2 paddle ups on it prior, which it came up well.
Yeah.
So it was a
good long runway. I saw from the video.
Yeah. It was out front of Alex's house, and it was actually terrible water, like heaps of boat weight going past. It was like little like half quarter foot chops kind of coming
to paddle up in.
It was just sticky, but the board paddled really good. It was an 8.2 by 16 3/4, 98 liters, which I've never ridden anything over 90 liters before. I didn't love the extra volume, which was everyone's been going bigger and bigger volume, but I found it a little corky, just sat up high, and I didn't love that. I didn't feel like I had the control on the board. Just when you're kind of paddling up, you're a little desperate and you need to move it around a bit. I just felt on top of the water, and it didn't feel like I couldn't move it as well as
like a bit boaty.
Yeah, a bit boaty.
Yeah.
So I struggled with that on the paddle up a little bit. But then once it was up on foil, I mean, everyone sort of talks about, you're going from 7 to 8 foot, but like realistic, especially with the boards how we've got them, you're gaining half a foot out the back, half a foot out the nose. It's not all out the nose. So it doesn't, I was on a 7.6 prior, so it was only a couple extra inches out the front. So didn't feel too bad once I was up, but yeah, just paddled so well. I think you had a little paddle on it, Kui, as well. Said it was.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. It's it definitely, because it's a bit less liter than I'm used to. It was sitting a bit lower in the water for me, but I got to say it was definitely really stable for how narrow it is. It was really nice to paddle. Yeah, it feels like a really good shape.
What volume's everyone running? And what's your weight, I guess?
That's the question.
Yeah.
I'm on I'm 84 kilos at the moment. Put on a little bit in the off season, please.
Oh shit.
Dad bod.
Oh shit.
And
there is no off season for Jimmy, mate.
It's all go.
No, you brought your own dinner to the barbecue.
Yeah,
Glad
he
I
doesn't
did.
eat that sausage sizzle.
No, I didn't about sausage sizzle, mate. Ridiculous.
My dad was offended, eh?
I don't eat meat.
Oh,
I ate his onion though. The onion was good. 84 kilos, and I'm riding 105 liter, 7.6 by 17.
Is that
Sonova.
25% over your body weight?
What is that? I think it's so 21 liters. I guess it is more. So
Would you say one? Let's get them all out. 125 volume?
no, what 105.
105.
Shannon actually did this from LF Supply. He
Yeah,
asked
he was.
a lot
Yeah,
of the crew
Yeah, I got that.
what they're riding and what their weight is, and he's trying to figure out what to ride himself. And he said that it's pretty spread across the board. Like everyone's kind of a bit all over the shop, which is pretty cool to hear, I reckon.
yeah. It's not.
Jimmy's the perfect 25%.
Hello. There you
There you
go.
go. 1.25. So I went 98 liters, and I'm at 73 kilos at the moment.
Pretty much the same.
Oh, 134, 1.34.
Oh, so you've gone more volume. So
Yeah,
you
but I
used to
normally
be
ride 85. So that's
liters.
yeah,
That's a bit less than I reckon.
85. Yeah, 16%.
Whoa.
Get to 25, mate. Spot on.
That actually would be, yeah, so it'd be around 90 for me. 92, somewhere around there, which
Borrow one of Marcus's boards.
think me
Yeah.
and Josh are similar. I'm like, I weigh 77 and I'm running a 105.
Yeah, I'm 77 and I'm on 108, but I wanted
Yeah.
to
36.
pull down to like a 105. But then like after riding Oscars the other day and it was 98, I don't know if I really want to go much lower than 105. I didn't like the feel of it being kind of, your feet not in the water, but like definitely on the bullets, like you're quite above the water.
I think the bottom shapes, which Oskar and I were talking about after
Mm.
the race, looking at all the boards laid out, the bottom shape makes a big difference to volume. And I think it's interesting that Oskar and I are probably on similar bottom shapes, like not similar, but like they're same concept in that it's like kind of more towards planing. And you two boys are on more of a displacement. And I think displacement boards are going to sit lower in the water. So therefore you need more volume. And Oskar and I are talking about it. I think planing hulls, you need to be paddling faster and the pump is compromised. Whereas displacement hulls, the pump is optimized, but you can't paddle as fast.
Oh, I don't know. I reckon my board, like the bullet can just literally, like when I was trying to paddle up and I stopped paddling, it just keeps going. Like
it'll glide, but like
Yeah.
it's max speed, I guess is what Oskar and I were talking. And
Right.
back me up, Oskar. But like
Yeah.
the planing, like a flatter surface versus a round surface, that you guys will 100% have more glide, which gives you more time to pump it up. But a flatter bottom will be like stickier until it's not. It's like
Right,
it
until
won't
it's
glide
off
as
the
much.
water.
Yeah. It's I guess the flat bottoms are low aspect foils and like thin low aspect foils, and the round bottoms are your high aspect. They don't necessarily go as fast, but they'll continue to glide.
Yeah.
That's I don't know
What
for the foil nerds.
what do you guys reckon's the narrowest you'll go? Like for me, 16, I don't think I need to go any narrower. I don't think there's any more benefit unless I'm going another foot longer
I think it depends on what you're using it for.
for racing.
But yesterday was a downwind race, and I probably could have gone narrower. It wouldn't have made any difference. In terms of balance out there, it was pretty well flat. It wasn't hard to stand on your board.
I fell 4 times.
So,
Did you actually?
Yeah, dude. As soon as the
Nerves,
gun
though.
went off, I
That's
literally
nerves.
stood up, fell off, stood up, fell off, stood up, fell off. It was fucking
But once you're up,
embarrassing.
you made it in one run.
Yeah.
Yeah. See.
That's all that matters.
I literally had like, how there was chat of like, oh, if you're not a front runner, like go to behind like a second line. I had all those guys go past me.
You
Oh,
third
you
or
know
fourth
what
line.
sick idea
I
for
should-
next one? We should do a handicap, like a 2 or 3 minute handicap.
Oh nah.
Yeah, I read that.
But like whoever top 10, you get handicapped.
Oh, I
'Cause
reckon that's not a
it'd
bad
make
idea.
the end really fun.
was-
like
Yeah.
There'd be more games going on,
yeah,
more
Mm.
overtaking,
and it's fun when you're behind and you have someone to like go to. You can really get going, you know.
Like, yeah, I think the handicap's good, is what I'm saying. I think
Yeah.
it would
Mm.
make it more like a race for everyone, as long as well, for the 20 beaches we did that. So we gave the skis 15, 20 minutes over 20 Ks, and I overtook the first ski as we cut like in the last kilometer. And then I came
Yeah.
down at Station Beach and he passed me and I paddled up flat water and got past him and then gassed out and he got me. So it was like perfect handicap. It'd be
Yeah,
sick.
that's cool. That's
It'd be
good.
really good. And
Yeah.
And I think yesterday's we all took the same line more or less. Like I was just following you. Like you could see everyone in a line. It wasn't like a normal
Yeah.
race where everyone just goes out.
mm,
Yeah.
And you kind of someone's then you're trying to gauge if you're on the same. Like we were all just you knew exactly where you were. You could look
Yeah.
back. There was two more guys.
It
Whatever.
would have.
looked
Oh,
sick.
it would have been so good. Interesting to have like a 20 knot conditions and just see where we all
Yeah.
end up and where we all finished with timing.
yeah,
Like,
it would have
It would have been a different race for sure.
it would have been a lot more
Yeah.
fun. Like I said at the
Yeah.
Prezzo, it was like, that's not what we downwind foil for. We can all agree on that. Like that was good race training. It felt like I'd gone
yeah,
for a
that
run.
was
Good
very
training
good
session.
training. I learned
Yeah.
a lot from it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Um,
Let's
Do we
talk
wanna-
more about
yeah.
maybe the other contenders in the race. I reckon it's definitely worth a mention, like kind of the logistics of how we had a few people that might not have been as confident, but kind of in the starting line.
Yeah.
Like was there any failed attempts or was there any dangers that people ran into?
Did you see the shark, Oscar? I went,
Hammerhead?
yeah,
I
Yeah.
saw
Little hammer.
that one. I think
Yeah,
yeah,
little
right
one.
off Newport Reef. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
oop, shark.
Kinda-
But yeah,
kind of flicked me. I don't know if it was the same one, but I had a big splash like a couple meters away from me, and I just didn't even. I was like, whatever. I'm dying here.
adrenaline.
I'm dying. That thing's not my worry.
My heart will kill me before that shark does.
Yeah, exactly. You can have
Blue
a crack
bottles.
every once.
A bunch of
I
people
got
got done.
smashed by blue bottles on the starting line.
Yeah, I got done on my back leg paddling out.
Yeah.
I know a few people got done by blueies and had sort of semi-allergic reactions and had to go in, or they continued going and were cooked by the time they got in. There were guys on
that's
foil
boss.
drives. I think the foil drive
Yeah.
division could definitely. I think that's a cool thing, and not necessarily foil drive, but any sort of foil assist or like paddle assist, whatever you want to call it. But I think something like the flight, the new amp, or you've seen the
Jetboard
mantas
thing.
come out, or even maybe a tow boogie. Like
Yeah.
that'd be sick. Like because there are a
Yeah.
lot of guys using the jet ski safety boats as tow assists, basically, because it was pretty gnarly conditions. And the reason I think the last 15 to 20 people, or probably it must have been like last 15 people finished, was because of a jet ski assist. Not Sean Townsend. He paddled the whole way, or foiled the whole way. Didn't get an assist.
I
Andrew
love the idea of that foil drive. Like honestly, because imagine how many more people would go on it, and how much more of a race it would be. Because like the crew that are a bit worried that they're not going to make it or whatever, that allows them to go in the competition, and then like Paul Cooper, like he came fourth on the foil drive. Like I think that's so amazing, and like that just creates way more of a competition.
Yeah, I think I was amazed at how many people were like capable of doing that run, because it wasn't like that was up there with some of the hardest, probably the hardest race of like in terms of conditions wise that I've ever done. Like there wasn't much assist. So the fact that 40 people finished it is pretty amazing. And like I said, there's a bit of a tow, like the people weren't standing behind a jet ski getting towed, and people even on the foil drive, they weren't just e-foiling the whole way down the run. They were using the e-foil or the jet ski to get up and going, and then just like surfing down the run, like or pumping as far as they could, kind of thing. So I was like seriously impressed, basically, by everyone's skill set and the fact that 40 people finished that. And there were people, and I know there were like at least another 20 people, 20 Aussie foilers, probably 30 Aussie foilers that could have competed in like the top. They could have finished that run. Wouldn't have had fun, but they could have finished it. Like all the guys in WA, there's a few guys in the Goldie, South Oz. Vico. I wish Jeff came. Jeff Rowley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hit him up.
Yeah.
He just said he's got a bit of family commitments, but yeah, he was hungry. He said he really wants to get involved. He's
Yeah.
very hungry.
Epic.
It'd be cool to get a couple in different locations. Maybe we can kind of
Come down to mine. We'll have one at mine, one up at Zane's.
Mm.
Spread them out.
it'd be sick.
Let's go to Byron so we can do a holiday.
Yeah. Bally's not bad for a holiday either.
Yeah,
true.
Bally's nice.
We don't have water goes though, but there's
Yeah,
no
you
people.
don't.
We can
Yeah.
get. You can go any foil whatever
Don't
you
worry.
like. There's no one.
There's no one out what he goes ever. Only sharks and turtles at the moment.
Yeah.
Actually hit a turtle the other day. It was heavy.
Ooh.
Don't tell the Hawaiians that, mate. I
So,
told I hit a turtle at a race, and I said at the prezzo that I hit one, and everyone's like, "You don't say that. Even if you hit it, you don't say it because it's like they're like sacred."
yeah.
So
Mate, I know wingers over there that hit at least one a session.
heavy.
They're just
Yeah.
they're so hard to miss if you get like those runs are so quick and then you don't see them.
Yeah.
No, especially when you're in a Kanaha where the water's a bit
Yeah,
milky.
Kanaha wingings where it always that
Yeah.
seems to be the spot.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the foil assist division is going to open it up to more people. I like honestly, I think
Put
Yeah.
less stress on the jet skis.
yeah. A couple of mates who were driving the jet skis were like, if I knew that there was going to be tow assist like that, I would have entered. Like I would have done it. Like he goes, he's like, I was better than half those guys I was towing in. He was off it, Gilly. Yeah.
I feel like a good concept could be if we do one up my way, we do like a long distance one, like 60K, you know, more of an
Like an
endurance
100.
race. Yeah, 100.
Go long. Yeah.
You can do Tweed to Evans, Tweed to Balliners, 100, I think, or around that.
Mhm.
And yeah, that would be pretty fun.
Tough for insurance.
What's insurance?
No, I think I text all you guys after the race and said that was sick, and let's sort of gear up towards Hawaii this year. I want to get a Aussie podium, fully
Feel it.
feel it.
Well, conditions like yesterday, I think we can do pretty well if we get 30 knots.
But you know, I honestly think it's a different skill set. Like I honestly reckon, Zane, you've probably upskilled heaps in that sort of real windy stuff, and maybe your light wind games lost
Definitely.
a little bit.
I don't go out now when it's less
That's
than
it.
15
Yeah.
knots, you know.
Yeah, seriously though. Whereas
But like the other day was the first time I started actual like wanting to train a bit more. And I did a run from Cabba to Byron. The first 20K was glassy, but there was wind, like there was residual. And I was like, yeah, this is kind of what I needed just to challenge myself and feel the low, like the store speed of that foil. And then that's what, when I came into the race yesterday, I was like, yeah, I've got it with that. And we just didn't understand how minimal energy there was running. So
it's been so variable here at home lately. Like
yeah,
being
humid down in Sydney.
real
Yeah.
humid.
I feel like
I'd
the
say.
humidity really kills the wind. 'Cause
Yeah.
up north, we haven't had any wind. We've had probably like 3 nor'easters in 6 weeks.
Mhm.
So it's been muggy as.
Yeah.
Yeah, that haze that was sitting offshore, we got it a couple of downwinders where you'd see that haze. It'd be forecast for 20, 25 knots. If that haze was there every time, you'd be lucky to get 10. And as soon as we were driving the headlands around Belgala and that, we just looked out and there was that haze. And I remember saying it in the car, I was like, we're not getting 10 knots. I was like, there's no chance. And everyone's like, nah, it's picking up. And I was just like,
Nah, so muggy.
yeah.
I've had a lot of times winging out off like long reef, and that haze has been around, and I'm just like, I'm not getting up.
Yeah.
And I keep trying to get up, and the wind's coming, it's not coming. So many paddle ins because of that haze.
Yeah.
Wishing I had a paddle, not a wing.
Did you guys like that structure? Do you reckon we can follow suit there, or would you like to change things? I know the Hawaii guys have been chatting about, you know, race changes for M2O and stuff, and I'm just keen to see if you like that gentleman's sitting start when the buzzer goes off. And I know Paddle and
feel
Mill
like
is a bit messy.
I feel like it's sweet. I reckon it'd be hard to get the order, you know. It's kind of honesty, and 5 seconds here or there doesn't matter too much, I reckon. Kind of
I
evens
reckon
it.
the start's everything
You reckon?
for sure.
I reckon it,
If you
well,
don't
as in
get going at the
like
start
say
with
if
all the
it's
front runners, you've mentally fucked it.
yeah, or say if it's like I don't know, someone gets up 5 seconds before, I don't reckon that's too big of a difference. But if you're like struggling to get up and it takes a minute, yeah, for sure. But
I think-
like that initial honesty system, I feel like it's fine.
I think the
I was
biggest thing
paddling
is
up. The final one that I paddled up on, I then had Jordan come 90 degrees parallel to me and just paddled straight in front of me. And then I had to stop and then I had to go around him. And then he kind of seen what I was doing and he stopped and he kind of went behind me. And then I continued to paddle. So maybe it was like, I don't know, do you reckon this? Well, you guys, it's different because you guys all got going quick.
Yeah,
So
and
you didn't
we,
really see what happened with all the
Yeah.
traffic. Like maybe we
I
were all
th-
a bit too
yeah.
bunched.
I stuck away from it because I knew that would be the case.
yeah,
I
you
got
don't want to
away.
be near.
Yeah,
You want to
You
give
sat-
yourself as much space as you can because everyone's
Yeah.
looking at bumps at different ways. And
Yeah.
the
We
downhill,
didn't
it's
have.
always downwind. It's sometimes over here for some person, over there for someone else, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden you got a head on going on.
I didn't feel there was no jet ski or boat wake, which was really good. I really thought that was well done by all the safety guys, the ski guys. I pretty much drilled that in when we did the safety briefing because that was one of the biggest things that fucked me up in the M2O last year. So I think that was a good call.
Yeah, the
And
boat
then
stayed
the
way out of it. I think that there was just
yeah,
never a
it's
concern.
good.
They waited till the end. And if they were going, they were like literally going 90 degrees out. They were kept the wake away from everyone, which is important.
I know I got a good boat wash at the beginning of Molokai behind your boat, Oskar.
I had people yelling, and it was just like I looked back and I was like, "What?"
I fired up so hardcore. I was feel like embarrassed how angry I got. But heat of the moment. I was just like sitting on a wash and you were just like pumping away. I'm like, oi, get out of the way. But yeah, it was none of that yesterday. But I think everyone just had to spread out more. Everyone was in like a bunch, like a long.
It was funny too because when I told everyone to stop paddling, because like everyone started well out from what I normally would do that local run in, and then even when I said stop paddling, I've seen people still trying to paddle further out.
It
to
was like a
sea,
tail though,
just
that
yeah.
last
Everyone
bunch
was just
was
like
so
following.
thick, and because everyone was like, "I want to be further, I want to be further, I want to be further." And they just like, and even when they sat down, they're all just in there slowly, just
Yeah, I
but they were
know.
they're all this
Stop,
big
everyone.
clump, and I just sat like the next gap off them, and then there was like kind of a good trail, and I didn't have too many people behind me, it was fine, but that one clump, I think you were at the head of the clump, Gooey, just telling everyone to stop.
Dude,
20
I had
guys behind you.
full traffic around me. It was crazy.
I think the biggest thing that people have to remember for starts is you've got to give everyone space, and like being further out isn't always the best option. Sometimes having your own space is better because getting 20 meters further out versus having like 2 meters of space, like radius, is going to be more beneficial because you're going to stuff up more from running into someone. Like what happened, like what you had to do. What you did, Kui.
I definitely found too, having not much real estate, it also put the pressure on, like way more nerves, because I was like, 2 meters off in every direction of someone. So when I stood up and when I fell off straight away and then people started going in front of me, it just even put more pressure on. And I think next race I think because maybe I was coordinating the thing from the jet ski, I just jumped in wherever. But I think, tactics, you boys thinking a bit more real estate on the edges.
But for everyone, I think that's going to be for everyone. Like, just like it's good to be where everyone else is, but you don't have to be on top of each other.
But not on top.
Yeah, that's going to be a thing as races get more people entering them. Like that was a big race. It's probably the biggest fall race I've ever been in Australia by a long shot. 40 plus. There's still plenty of room for 40 people to have, like, we were stretched out over probably 200 meters. Like you could have 5 meters each.
Did you guys, did you say, Jimmy, you were the furthest into the beach? Did you have any issues seeing the signal? Because I know PB was supposed to do an air horn, but he fucking didn't. He did his piss week thing, and then he just all of a sudden put his hand down and said go. And I was like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, and then the horn went off like a minute later. I just saw him waving frantically.
Were you just were you watching him, or were you kind of watching
I didn't even
around you?
I missed the briefing, Kui, so I didn't even know what was going on.
When everyone
started paddling, I'm like, all right, time to go. But
Okay.
I guess it cost me a couple seconds, because JB and Oskar are up before me. But honestly, like it's nothing. Like people get a bit too caught up in being the first up or like, having a bad start or a good start. But I think if you're aware of what's going on around you and you're sitting there and you look, okay, people are standing up, you stand up. Someone starts paddling to get going, you start paddling to get going. It's 1 or 2 seconds. And there haven't been many races that decided by 1 or 2 seconds. So I think just it wasn't important that I heard the horn. That wasn't going to make a difference. But I heard Zane and we heard something.
Yeah.
And I was like, then it was like a long horn. And I'm like, I guess that's the start. And I looked across and I got up. I actually got up and thought I'd false started because there was only Oskar and JB that were up. And I was like, looking back, I'm like, because Zane, you're right next to me, like, did Zane get going? And then where's Josh? And I was like, kind of like, where's everyone? But it was like, basically, I still had a good start. And I had a similar feeling at Molokai. Like, the horn went, and I was still half expecting them to call it back or something because of a funky start. Like, it didn't seem like super clean. But you just, I don't know. The rule, the lesson I think for all of us is if you see, like, I don't know what the starting procedure is, but at the end of the day, if someone else is standing up, you can stand up. And if one person, like, I've chat because Nottish, I've done a bunch of sup racing. You don't want to be the first person to stand up because you could be like false starting. But if you're the second, it's fine. You're not gonna, and everyone follows. I guess that's how I saw it anyway. It wasn't an issue. You can get too caught up in it, which then you get sort of the nerves get to you. I guess it's what can happen, and yeah, don't get caught up in that.
What's your thoughts on a southerly run on the Northern Beaches?
In a
We're doing one tomorrow, mate.
For a race.
I'm back.
Yeah, we're doing one tomorrow.
I'm doing a nor'easter, so I'll meet you halfway.
Keep going. I think it'd be really cool to do one from Manly, but I think like permit wise, it wouldn't be possible. I think like Long Reef to Palmy would be the run, which it's a pretty good distance. It's like 20 k's. It'd be really good, I think.
Yeah, it's just the Bangali headland. That's the
best bit, mate.
Yeah, it is, but it's also the worst.
It depends if you come down or not.
Yeah.
It's I still think it'd be fine. People, you got to embrace the bump, embrace the mess.
What a quote!
No, I definitely think that I'm super keen for more events, but I think we really got to find this like structure. I know we're just kind of doing it kind of a bit bootleggy, but like it'd be cool to have some sort of structure. And I know Lisa from New South Wales Foil Club is really trying to create like a bit more of a legitimate style thing where yesterday she was just collecting everyone's details on like a WhatsApp, and then like a waiver was sent that a lawyer Nick created, and it wasn't very streamlined. Like she got it done, but like I know it was a lot of work on her behalf, having to monitor everyone signing on the WhatsApp and signing off on the WhatsApp, and then just like accounting for everyone. And it would be nice if like there was some app or something that just makes it a bit more streamlined and just takes the pressure off the organizers a bit more, because we there's guys who go into it who just like they'll rock up on the day and they just want to do the race, which is totally fine. It's sweet, but like it just makes it a bit more stressful for the crew who are trying to protect themselves from something going wrong. Like
yeah, and I think what Zane and Oskar, you guys are frothing out like a long run. I think that's something that we could do as a group of mates, and we can make it a race. Just say whoever gets there first. Have phones on us, and if something happens, then you limp in, or you got that contact, you sort of back your skills. But I think for a race and a lot of people doing it, you got to follow the rules, I guess, and get the insurance. And because if something goes wrong, it's on the organizers. And as you said, Josh, it's easy for people to just rock up and do it and have a lot of fun. But I think I think web scorer is what I've done for a bunch of sup races before. It's seems to be fairly easy. I've never run one, but I know friends that have run them using that, and it has like timing. Like you just have like an app, and you can like click. Number 2 came in, and that's Oskar, and then number 3 came in, and that was Zane, and number 4 came in, and that was Josh. Or, and it's just like that. Your people are assigned numbers, so that when someone comes in, they just have to click 2, and that's their time. And it also covers all the. I'm not sure if it had the waivers and all that sort of thing, but yeah, there's stuff out there. Like we're not reinventing. It's all races have been run like this, and we don't have to reinvent it. It's all out there. We just have to sort of ask the right people.
I'm super curious what John Hearn is doing in Hawaii. I know he's doing like amazing races in Oahu for everyone, and I'm curious if he's gone the legitimate route or if he's just doing it the way we're doing it and just like spreading it like through social media and just having it at the beach. So it's cool that it's popping off and people want to do it because like the one is there. Everyone wants to do it.
Yeah, it's cool,
Everyone
but
wants
it's
to
like
race.
it's not fair on the people that are at risk, I think. If there is that risk.
Well, that's the one thing that was really shown to me because I put my hand up to do it, and then as soon as I started creating the flyer and spreading it out, I then have like lawyers hitting me up saying like, "Well, this is amazing, like good on you, but if something goes wrong, you're the target. If a swimmer gets hit by one of your foilers in the race, and they want to sue someone, they're going to sue you." And I was just like, "Well, fuck, like." I want to create this fun event, but I also don't want to be sued where I can't afford to pay whatever the cost is. Like, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah,
something
can't
that
we?
we'll
We're
sort
able to
out.
get insurance though for downwinding through is it Kiting Australia? They do cover that, don't they? Well, they don't.
I think it's wing. They only do winging.
Right.
What about the ski paddlers? Do we go into paddling category?
Yeah.
Like for you with the 20 beaches.
Well, yeah, I was. I guess it was only one of a couple that did it, but I think we had. They wouldn't have allowed us in it if they didn't have insurance. So I know. Yeah, the races over in WA. They definitely the Indian Ocean paddlers. They let us in because I guess they had insurance, but some of the other ones didn't because they didn't. And whether it was some of the race organisers being a bit loose and saying, yeah, just come along, and the other ones being a bit more strict and saying, nah, we don't have insurance. I'm not sure, but I think the beauty of the weekend that was that we've shown that there's a want or like people want to be doing it. 40 plus competitors, and I've friends with Dean Gardner who runs 20 beaches and the doctor and all that sort of stuff, and he's always he's always wanted to grow the ocean paddling sort of stuff, but there's only 5 people entering. It's like, come on, like why would I put my neck out there if it's it's a numbers game for event organizers, that works off if there's 200 surf ski paddlers and there's 2 foilers and the foilers could be first or last, in terms of safety boats, it's going to be really bad. And I think the biggest thing I took out of yesterday was if you have jet skis that are specifically for foilers, then it can be done safely, and there aren't like many people, left out there. But maybe that means a foil entry fee is more expensive, which would suck for the top guys who are self-sufficient. And maybe there's an option to have a jet ski like escort, so to speak. Because I think people would take it if the conditions are looking a bit, how you going, or organise their own. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Do we want to finish up? It's probably been.
Yeah, I feel like we've been chatting for a while.
Yeah. It's a good round table kind of discussion. But
yeah, it'd be good to see this keep growing. It was so much fun. I think just the froth that was amongst everyone. Didn't matter that the conditions was pretty subpar, but everyone was still just the energy on the start line, the energy of everyone getting ready together. Just, we're all huddling under the one shade of tree and just everyone checking out each other's gear. The banter started well before. It was good. I think that, the community's there and just bringing everyone together is more what it's about. And more of that, it's just good times.
Exactly right. And that's like why the insurance thing is kind of annoying, because it's like the framework's there, like the froth is there, people want to be doing it. And it's like funny that it has to be a race to get people there for it, but maybe it's just got to be like a social downwind and
Yeah.
with prizes. That it's a funny one, isn't it?
Probably a perfect time to announce your thing, Zane.
Oh, well, it's going to announce it later in the week. Still,
This, this,
Out
this,
till later in the
I
week.
won't
I'm
upload
still
it till after,
organising
mate.
things.
Yeah,
I'm just
but
trying
like
to
you
organise sponsors and stuff. But Foil
gonna happen.
Fest will be getting announced this week for a similar. I think we're going to do it in June. We're just trying to find a weekend where it's going to flow the best. And then I'm just talking to some potential people that want to support it. But yeah, it's just, we're running into the same kind of hurdle of like insurance. So I think we're just going to go down the avenue right now of just doing it a meetup, a social meetup, and just hang out and then just see what goes from there. Like last year's one was good, and I've been me and Adam been chatting about some criteria for individual heats, which I'll just announce it whenever, but we're just still kind of going through it. Yeah, and
Jet
then
boards only.
sorry,
Jet boards.
Jet boards only.
jet boards and jet skis.
Yeah.
But if there's wind that weekend, like totally open for a downwind kind of thing.
Yeah, social.
Yeah, of Evans, is it Evans or Hathead? Hathead down to. That's a pretty long run. How long was that Crescent to Plumber run? 15?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty
That was
similar.
a good run. Even like it was light conditions.
Yeah, it was
That was
fun.
a really good run.
It was better than yesterday's run.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. We'll just see whatever flows. But winter, it's rare you get nor'easters.
I had a good southerly actually the day after the event. You guys wrapped up. It was hooking on the drive out. I went to Crescent and it was super fun.
Yeah, we winged out the middle of Crescent. It was awesome. So good.
Some good bumps. Finish at Hathead would be good, or even the four-wheel drive track. Be fun. But yeah, plenty of options. I'm gonna wrap it up so I can be rambling now. But I look forward to the details, Zane. And
Yeah, well,
probably
I was doing a lot of admin today with it, so got to get on what Josh said, Adobe Express, and make a poster. And then I've just been chatting to a few people about supporting it, and I'll announce it all this week, which is super exciting because it's fun having a surf foil event for sure. Or
definitely.
Nice to have something to
meetup.
just look forward to.
Yeah,
And I think
Yeah.
like if it's booked that far out, like you kind of commit to it, and then like you can look forward to it, cheat up.
yeah,
And it's like it's pretty special when you get all the foilers in one spot together, because I feel like that's when good stuff happens.
definitely. Yeah, it's going to be like announcing it this year. I reckon we're going to have a lot of people turn up, which will be good. And it'll just show, I think if we do get in, like if we like put a case towards an insurance broker, it will show like there's that much support behind it. So for them, I guess it's a return of investment as well, you know? So that's what they're looking for. So yeah.
Cool. Stay
2 weeks.
tuned.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, thanks, boys.